it's nice to get to this level of classes because I get to go over this material again and again, and it's nice to be up at this level talking and looking and thinking. But each time I go over it, it opens up new ideas and new insights to me and refreshes the more cosmic or vaster elements of the ocean of the astrology. Here we have the Southern Hemisphere Capricorn to the tropical Cancer, to the Northern Hemisphere Cancer, and they both have the twins over it. So the duality of the thinking of one's security or worries or sensitivity in Cancer, or one's practical plans or the strategy or which plans to the Capricorn. So does it make the worrying Cancer, the sensitive Cancer, more rational? Does it make the tropical Capricorn, Southern Hemisphere Capricorn more strategic? Those that have eyes to see, let them see. Tropical Northern Hemisphere Leo has the constellation of the crab. It no longer has the heart of the lion, but has the sensitivity of crab. So that first half of Leo has the ability to, it has a sensitivity. It gets the attention, gets the center of any group, it gets noticed by the people around it, and has that Cancer like that. But the seemingly detached Aquarius, the Southern Hemisphere Aquarius, has the sensitivity inside of it too, in a different way, in a more strategic way, you might say. And the Southern Hemisphere Pisces and the tropical Virgo, they have the lion, the pride, and the criticism of the Virgin, and the criticalness of it, naiveness even. And so the Northern Hemisphere Virgos are more proud or leonine, and the Southern Hemisphere Pisces are more dramatic, perhaps. So there we see Southern Hemisphere, tropical Libra, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere Aries, they both have the Virgin over it. So the Libra would be more critical or fussy, or naive or Virgo-like, and the Aries would have that quality. The impulsiveness would have like, so the tropical, which would rather be an Aries from the Southern Hemisphere with the Virgo there, making it much more specific, practical, down to earth, hard-nosed Aries, cowboys on the mesas, or the cowboys out in Australia, tough. Or would you rather be the Aries with the fish in it in the Northern Hemisphere? You chose what you got. You got what you got. This Northern Hemisphere tropical Taurus has that Libra scales that look for balance, harmony, balance. And the Scorpio, Northern Hemisphere, is looking for that balance, looking for that pleasantness. Has an effect on it. The Scorpion, but is in the Southern Hemisphere Gemini, has the Scorpion with it, has that sting, the scorpionic sting, whereas the Northern Hemisphere Sagittarius has the sarcasm within its opportunity or its opinions. And then you get Capricorn has the Archer over it, but the Southern Hemisphere Cancer has the Archer over it. So whereas the Archer is the traveler, the going someplace, seeing places, it has that outreach. Perhaps Northern Hemisphere Capricorns are more entrepreneurial or more investment oriented than the Southern Hemispheres. But the tropical Cancer has, in the Southern Hemisphere, has a bit more outreaching or searching, or has the element of the Archer within it for the inspiration, for the understanding. The Southern Hemisphere Leo has the goat. They're a little bit more bossy, more serious, more controlled, more ambitious. They have the goat element on it. Northern Hemisphere Aquarius has that goat side to it, that ambitious side to it. So you can take all of the factors, you know, so the Saturnine nature, the Saturn rulership of the Northern Hemisphere Aquarius might have an easier relationship to the goat than the proud Leo sun ruled by the sun, Southern Hemisphere. You take each of the categories and work through how it works for each of them. You'll start to stretch this. The Southern Hemisphere Virgo has the water bearer, the Aquarius, and a bit of the fish within it. With the Northern Hemisphere Pisces has the water bearer and a bit of the fish within it. So really, it's the last 10 degrees of Pisces can be the fish, and the fish can be have it still lined up. The last degrees of a lot of the signs will have that. Okay. So just as we're going around this, that's like, these are just maps to let you think it through for you, make associations and wonder about it. But you have to have the knowledge about these things to back it up, to have the associations. You have to have read about constellations and myths. You can't just assume they're not exactly the same as the seasons, although because they were overlapped, they have the same name. So I try and separate by saying the goat or the archer or the water bearer, but it still have many of the themes given to that sidereal factor will have some of the tropical influences within it. So rather than analyze it, I just made associations that I would have and overlap it a little bit. But it certainly could be expanded on better. Okay, now we're going to look at the zodiac factors. And this is our basic beginner's class. But when you're doing this, it takes away the dilemma of the northern and southern hemisphere, because we're looking at astrology. Is it just a mathematical theory that we make associations and read meanings into, and then it means something because it's a theory or a symbol? Or is it actually a reality that we perceive it as measuring the nature of our body and our spirit's connection into matter, into life, and into what we experience and the depth of what we gain here? To me, astrology is how we're connected to life. It's a living DNA. It's not just an abstract symbol. It can go into abstract areas, but they're making them personal. It's trying to make the outer world and outer phenomena meaningful or significant to the inner being. And we start to see our behaviors against that light. So we're watching the light and the darkness. The light half is the creative half, the dark half is the receptive. The more light there is, the more things are growing, the more active everything, the more things are being more independently doing their own thing, and the more darkness, that independence is dying, and the more things are becoming more collective and more tied into each other. So to try to be more independent, we're trying to belong more, independent for freedom, belonging more for safety or security. These are the two halves of the year. The daylight increasing half. This has the northern hemisphere dates. December 22nd, the winter solstice, to June 21st. It's the opposite in the southern hemisphere, but we're just going to go through this in the northern hemisphere first, and you'll see if you're applying that, if you look at what daylight increasing, well, wait a second, from the southern hemisphere, daylight increases from June 21st to December 21st. It's the other way around. Right. So if it's so, how can you say that can't be, that can't mean that? It can't, it's how it's happening. Why wouldn't the understanding of astrology align with that understanding, with that observation? It does. It's supposed to. Then you have the half where darkness is greater. Half the year there's more night. The nights are longer than the days, and half the year the days are longer than the nights. Spring and summer, daylight is longer. Fall and winter, darkness is greater. This has the northern hemisphere dates. March 20th, spring begins. The sun's going overhead at the equator, it's moving north, and there's more light in the northern hemisphere in the daytime. And then in December, September 23rd, it's back balanced again, but it's getting darker, and it's beginning of, so from March 20th to September 23rd, you have the summertime, when spring and summer, where daylight is greater. In the fall and winter, the nighttime is greater. That's the winter, fall and winter. In the southern hemisphere, these times are reversed. So from September 23rd to March 20th, the daylight is greater. So these, what seems like an imbalance across the year, is balanced at any moment around the whole planet. It's both seasons at the same time. When it's too light one way, it's too dark the other way. It's just balanced. That's the way light is, nature is. So this builds up to our 4 seasons. Again, northern hemisphere here. The winter, daylight is increasing, but the darkness is still greater. So individuals are trying to be more free, but they're still involved. The society, the group, the responsibilities are still more important than their individual actions, but they're trying to get more. So Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces will have those qualities. When the daylight's increasing, and daylight is greater, you have springtime. It's daylight's increasing. I'm being more independent. I want to be more independent. As more daylight, don't stop me. Like this is the Aries, Taurus, Gemini, the daylight increasing till the longest day of Gemini. And that builds up. And then from the longest day in Gemini, June 21st, northern hemisphere, we have the summer begins. The darkness is beginning to increase. So even though it's the warmest summertime, it's already, the nights are getting shorter. but the daylight is still greater. So we start doing what we're doing with the sensitivity. Well, I better enjoy the summer while it's still here. But you have the individuals moving. I'm doing my thing. I want to belong more with the nighttime increasing, but I want to do it my way with the daylight is still greater. When it gets to the fall and the nighttime is increasing and the darkness is greater, you have the other person, the group, the sharing is more important than the doing one's own thing. And it's more important and it's becoming more important. So this is the fall, the building into the winter, into the darkness, into the needing each other, and harder to just do your own thing without caring for anyone. So this factor is the fabric of the tropical zodiac. I presented in the Northern Hemisphere. It's reversed. When you reverse the seasons and you measure the light and the darkness, which is the energy coming from the sun and life, it's reversed. So are the signs of the zodiac. Okay. So this puts the zodiac around. There's the wheel of the seasons in the middle. You have the zodiac around it. Again, Northern Hemisphere has the sidereal signs in it and the constellations around it. So by the time you put a planet somewhere, it's in the seasons. All that seasonal concern, that's local. Then you can by knowing what position it is, you can see if it's in the sidereal sign or in the constellation. You can begin to look out and see it. When we're interpreting chart, you're not usually thinking like that, but you can. And then each system doesn't fight with each other. There's just a line. You just add on. You translate from one to the other. In all the systems, the planets are in the same houses and have the same aspects. Now there's different house systems. That's another thing. But you can see the color, really, the light and the darkness coming from the sun to the earth. It sets up the rays of the spectrum. It sets up the color, and it sets up the warmer colors, the red, the orange, the yellow, going through the spring and summer, and the greens, the blues, and the dark blues, and the purples. They're in the winter. They're colder colors. So when you're doing this, of course, Leo and Gemini are the spring and summer. They're bright colors. You couldn't give them a dark color. You can't give Leo a dark purple or purple and say, this is you. They're not going to shine the same way. If the Leo is wearing the Aquarius colors, it means they're wearing the opposite color to accentuate the contrast of the Leo. Okay, but wearing clothes, we run into colors, that's a whole nother area. But this is where the argument of the Northern Hemisphere and switching this to the Southern Hemisphere is one, because you have to go with the meaning of the light and the dark. And springtime is the passions, and the light is increasing, the passions are increasing. It's mating season for all the animals. It gets all its Aries impulsiveness from the mating season. And just because you're in the Southern Hemisphere, suddenly it doesn't mean the mating season. The animals have to get along with each other, know each other's names, share a little bit, have it nice before they mate. It doesn't change. That's not so valid. You have to change the seasons if you want astrology to be connected to nature and to life and how we live our life and what it means to be on this planet for a lifetime and what we can do with it. If you just want something abstract, then go ahead and be abstract. There's literacy, and most of the literacy is that way, but it doesn't mean that just because there's millions of books been written, nobody's read all the books, and nobody needs to read all the books, and a lot of them aren't worth reading. Some are. You're lucky if you run across good information. Think it through for yourself. Does it make sense? Try it. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere and you've been thinking you're one sign all along, and is it possibly? When you start thinking, could it be the other? Then you start reading the other sign for a bit. It won't take me long before you realize, wow, yeah,